Well, hello there, friends. So today we're doing something even a little bit more different. So anyway, I think you're going to want to stay till the end because this is a special video. And you're not going to find a video like this anywhere on the internet, especially even YouTube. So I guarantee you, if you stick through me all the way through the end, you might get touched. You know, bring your tissues. I've got a story to tell. This is the day that we're going to have. And it really is pretty special, in my opinion. So we done did it. We're taking a day off. So we're going to be going on a little road trip today. And I hope that you can enjoy and travel with us and enjoy what we're enjoying. So what we're going to be doing today is something that we haven't done in a very long time. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going and we're going to go to where the shuttle Columbia broke up over Texas, just north of us. It happens to be in our neighborhood practically, so we don't have to travel that far. I didn't realize it until I looked online and came across it, and sure enough, the debris field from the Columbia disaster wasn't that far, and there's also a museum out there. So I thought, you know what, let's go do that. So here we go. So me and Smoking Hot are over here in Jasper, Texas. Look at this. This is the old courthouse. Look at that. Hey, 1890 something.
Take a picture with the phone.
Okay. Pretty nice little park here. Well, that's interesting. 1836.
What are you reading?
Always the jokester. So Smoking Hot, what's your favorite part of Jasper, Texas so far?
This.
Okay.
The town hall.
Let's go see what this is. The famous Blue Bells. (9/11) Memorial. If these cars weren't parked here, it'd look like we're stepped back in time. Not much has changed here. Well, here I am just outside of Hemphill, Texas. The furthermost eastern part of East Texas. I guess we're about 40 miles from the Louisiana border. So this area where I'm standing right now is the location of probably the most eastern part of the debris field, and a lot of the bodies were found in this area along with other debris. It's kind of strange feeling me standing here. Yeah. Oh, what is that? You got caught. You're supposed to catch the fish, not get caught. I don't think I'm gonna climb these stairs. Hey, it looks like Back to the Future. Here we are.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Hello, we came by to visit.
Good. 26 today.
Can you sign me up for 3 admissions?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll contribute a little bit anyway.
Okay.
Have any feeling for people, you couldn't help but to shed a few tears also.
My wife and I was in the bed arguing about who was going to get up first. And it was exactly about 8:05, and she kept pushing, you get up. So we heard a big sound. Window of the house shook, everything shook. And wasn't no more argument. Argument was over. I jumped up and I run to the door because I had never heard a sound like that before. And first thing I said, well, Jesus is coming. I'll meet him at the door.
I was actually at home. Me and my daughter were getting ready to go to my niece's baby shower, and my house first my dog, he started going crazy and jumping on the furniture and acting stupid, and then all of a sudden my house started vibrating, and I heard these 2 loud booms, and I didn't know what was happening.
It was that Saturday morning, and me and my wife was fixing to go to Walmart's, and we heard the explosion and everything, and she says, I said, no, let's don't go. I said, because something's happened.
We were under a large tin building that was open on the sides, and the building started rattling, and we didn't know what was happening, and we walked out from under it. It got louder and louder, and we walked out from under the building, and we could see the smoke spiraling down.
I said, well, something has happened, so I immediately went to the fire station, and we began to get reports of things falling from the air into people's yard.
The sheriff called me and asked me to open up the VFW for a staging area.
I got back up on the highway after I turned around, and my phone rings, and it was Roger, and he's like, Belinda, he said, I need you to come back to the VFW. They've asked us to open up as a staging area. Well, I said, well, I'm on my way. I said, I'll be there in about 5 minutes. And so I get there, and there's already probably 80, 90, 100 people there. I went in my auxiliary room, and I said, Lord, I don't know what you've got planned here, but I don't know if I'm the person you're looking for. This is really big.
We stepped off the bus, and immediately we stepped off in the woods, and immediately there we were. We were already in it. We had to stop and stand still. I told nobody not to move their feet because there was something there. And I got the attention to one of the law enforcement guys. I said, you got to come up here. He said, I can't come right. I said, yeah, you got to come here right now.
Doing my job for as long as I have. But quite frankly, you expect folks to look for their 15 minutes of fame and not call authorities and do the right thing immediately. And we didn't see that. Everyone did the right thing immediately. And as a consequence, we were able to go in there and recover those NASA family members and return them with great dignity.
We narrowed the scope to about a mile in width, and all the way across the county, which is like 26 or 30 miles, something on that order. And so we were looking at searching 15,000 acres in that first 2 weeks, and we accomplished that work.
This behind us is kind of a small sample of what we went through when we were searching for the astronauts. The first day they dropped us off on a road similar to this, and they said, we're going to do a straight line search, and we all lined up and we headed through this kind of stuff. So it was definitely not a walk in the park.
It was extremely cold. It sleeted a little bit. The temperatures, the briars were horrible. People were getting cut. But during that whole time, I cannot tell you of an injury that we had those 2 weeks. As day progressed, each day, the weather got really bad. It rained more. It wouldn't stop. It was set in. It was getting colder. But nobody was sick.
You know, it was February, and we got the sleet and the cold and the rain and everything, and the decision was made sometime around lunchtime that we've got people out in the woods and everything. It's just getting too nasty for them, that we're going to have injuries and accidents, people sick and everything, and so we need to just bring them in early and everything. And you would have thought that, you know, right around the Alamo, no, we're not coming in. You can't make us come in. I mean, it was nearly a fight. Don't you make us come in. We're out here, we're already wet, and we're going to stay until dark.
My personal crew, we have 20 city employees, and those 20 employees worked over 1,000 man hours in the first 13 days of just responding to utility needs, communication needs, and that type of thing.
If somebody needed housing, I would try to guide them to the right direction, because we had little old ladies who were opening their homes to strangers, total strangers.
On March 27th, we had a helicopter with 5 people go up, and they were searching for the Columbia debris and our astronauts, and you know, they had engine problems, and the helicopter went down, and we lost the pilot, who was buzzing the air, and we lost Charles Krennic, who worked for the Texas Forest Service. And you know, our memorials, we always include them because they died just like our astronauts did. They give the ultimate.
Our local funeral director, Mr. Starr, he wore his best suit out in those brambles and bushes, and picked up just like he would any other situation, and in his best car. And when we asked him to submit a bill, he refused, and he wouldn't charge for that service. And I know it was expensive, because he and his son both spent days there.
I noticed with the astronaut Kelly that he was still bothered somewhat, and like he said, that there needs to be something else. You know, we need a chaplain or a minister or something. And that's when I suggested Fred Rainey. He's our Baptist minister here in town. That's also with worked very heavy with the volunteer fire department and everything else. And then Fred came out, and from then on it was said that with every removal there was a moment of silence, and Brother Randy had a service.
We believe that the shuttle, or the parts of the shuttle that landed here, could not have been cared for any better any place on earth, and we're proud of what we did.
What happened here? There was lots of miracles. There was things that was found that should have never been found. You know, the Israel's diary that shouldn't have been found, it was found. You know, why should they be able to recover that of all the things that fell apart and broken? But they were able to recover that, not all of it, but pieces of it. There were thousands of things that made it to the ground that should not have made it to the ground. And that's God's way of leaving us clues on how to fix our problems and to move forward to the future. And that's what we're trying to do.
One day I'm going to look back, and it'll be a memory. We go through life, and we kind of have memories that we go to from time to time about a loved one, about a family. When you lose somebody, it's with you always, and you carry it. This will be a memory one day. But it will be something that I'll carry through my life until I'm gone. I never knew that such a small town, Hemphill, Texas, would touch so many hearts. Who'd ever thought it? Little town, East Texas, thousands of people, and this town touched many, many hearts.
Was the body of the astronauts recovered?
Yes, all 7 were recovered right here in Sabine County. These map pages are a terrific illustration of what occurred. When it was coming in on final, you can imagine going that fast. Final for a space shuttle is nowhere near what you think of with a final for a Cessna or a personal aircraft. It's incredible. But they actually had debris starting to come off as early as Arizona. They were seeing debris coming off of it. When it finally did truly disintegrate, pieces really started to fall. The concentration was just southwest of Dallas proper, and then it came all the way across, clear across the Louisiana border. So you can see the main concentration was through Rusk County, below Nacogdoches, all the way into San Augustine and Hemphill counties. But they did find all 7 crew here in Sabine County, fairly close to each other, from what I understand.
The National Guard descended down here. All the major news networks were down here. Like,
Sure.
The biggest names in news at the time were in trailers in the band hall parking lot with their little temporary cell phone towers. And we had in the old gym was where we set up cots for the National Guard to sleep, and we all took turns feeding everybody, and it was crazy. It was a wild time for sure.
And they would set up a 100-foot stretch of searchers, and they would go 100 feet forward, then come back this way, and 100 feet back, and then 100 feet forward on the next row. That way they could keep track of where they've been. You know, it's not so much keeping track of where you're headed, it's where you've been. So you're not wasting that time and energy.
They'd have, and I was telling him this too on the way up here, but they would go through, like there was a piece of that insulation that was found in our neighbor's yard, like right next to our house. And for the sake of recovering every piece and documenting exactly how and where it was found, other people would go around and they'd put up stakes and caution tape around it until they could come be properly collected.
Gotcha, and documented.
So you would be driving down the road and just see little stakes with caution tape around it.
Interesting.
Maybe that piece is in that photo somewhere
I'm sure it is.
in the warehouse. Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Because, you know, I love to talk with local folks that were here during this, because I like to hear what they heard, what they experienced, you know, what they went through. And it seems like every time I talk to somebody like you that has been local, you get just a little different angle and a different take on it, you know, and which is not, it's not that surprising because we've never been through anything like this. But it still makes it worthwhile to keep all of this catalog. Laurel Clark was lost on 107. Her husband was actually a NASA flight surgeon and was in Houston at Mission Control when this occurred. Spacewalk glove, pair of real, authentic, used astronaut gloves. And then you can see all these various checklists for different systems on board the shuttle. This is Laurel Clark's
So they don't
jacket.
need.
Oh yes. Oh yes, for 9 months.
For 9 months as well.
Yes. They probably couldn't wait to get home and get a pizza. It did go on a shuttle mission with Endeavour in 2008. They call it an advanced escape suit. We like to call it a pumpkin suit just because of the color. So if you look, it's fairly light, but strength, incredible strength. Most fighter aircraft in the military inventory has a great deal of the body made with reinforced carbon. But that piece that came off and hit it directly at the leading edge. These two pieces are leading edge pieces that go out here, and they would be different in order to create that curvature.
Oh, that's a nice donation.
These pictures are special on this wall. These were all taken with Rick Husband's 35mm camera, which was on board 107. They found the camera intact.
Oh, wow.
So NASA when they helped lay out this museum, NASA made the decision to go ahead and create this wall. But if you look, we had day crew and night crew. The shuttle was working 24 hours a day when they were in space.
So this is developed from photos that survived.
The accident. Yes. The 7 of them, all of them were pilots. 6 out of the 7 were military pilots. Casey was an astrophysicist. She was not in the military. She is a naturalized American citizen. Rick Husband with the Air Force, Michael Anderson with the Air Force, Willie McCool and David Brown both with Navy, and Laurel Clark was with the Navy, and then Elon was with the Israeli Air Force. He was the first Israeli astronaut.
Like the kind of initial thought that, like when I talked to my stepmom.
31 years, and we kept getting a different cell carrier for city phones because we got rid of the two-way radios and went to all cell phones. And it was funny because certain companies would have great reception over most of the city,
Right.
and then other companies would have reception where the others didn't.
Right.
And so, ultimately, how government works.
Yeah.
It was all based on price.
Right. What's the cheapest?
Yeah. They're not worried about the rest of us poor souls that need to actually use them.
Right.
Yeah. Have you seen this? You should sit down and watch You want me to start it for you? Yeah, sure. It starts in the dark, so.
My wife and I was in the bed, Oregon.
This one is better than the NASA muesli. Something to see there? I'm an astronaut, like
Katy Perry. Hey, Katy Perry. Katy Perry sat in a simulator.
Yeah. I'm more astronaut than Katy Perry. I'm not the passenger.
You actually have controls in front of you.
You expect folks to look for their 15 minutes of fame and not call authorities and do the right thing immediately. And we didn't see everyone did the right thing immediately. As a consequence, we were able to understand that we've got people out in the woods and everything is just getting too nasty.
I noticed with the astronaut, Kelly, that he still bothered something like me, but like he said, there needs to be something else, you know, we need a chaplain or minister or something. That's what I suggested Fred Rainey, a Baptist minister here in town. It's also with the, very heavy with the volunteer fire department, everything else.
Wow. That was wow. So this is one of those experiences where you hear about it, you read about it, you see something on the internet. To be here where it happened, that's the difference. It's a whole different feeling, trust me. First recorded burial here is for Abel Allison Lewis, a veteran of the American Revolution in 1838. First ordained minister to preach in Texas. Born in 1796. Thompson family. Born in 1765. And always trust this place. Okay, we're here in Nacogdoches. So this is the memorial here for the Columbia. It's got all the astronauts named. Because right here, this spot, right here, a large piece of debris landed right here at this spot. Here in downtown, right in downtown Nacogdoches. The beautiful magnolias are out.
Okay, now tell us where you're at.
Well, we're in Nacogdoches. You know, it's kind of hard for me to pronounce that, but we're here at the Azalea Garden.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, here we are southwest of Nacogdoches at the other airport, where some debris actually fell over this area. This is in the debris field. This is a lot closer to home. Don't live as far from here. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there with me, and really appreciate it. So until next time, we'll see ya. If you like this video, you'll really like the next one.